What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. For those who are new here, hello and welcome, and for all of my returning subscribers, hey. So first of all, it is a little windy outside, so hopefully you guys can hear me well. But today I just wanted to chat with you guys, kind of share some of my journey while I prepare my garlic cloves for planting. Today is the 11th of October, which means that I am slowly but surely approaching my first frost date. My first projected frost is set for around October 22nd. So I need to get some garlic in the ground before that happens. We've already had like quite a few like pretty cold nights. So like I said, I want to get this stuff prepped and ready before I'm working with, you know, pretty hard soil. So that's what I am doing today, is really just, you know, peeling back all of my cloves so I can get them in the ground. But again, I also wanted to share some of my gardening journey with you guys. For those who may be new to the channel, I don't know, I just feel like I've never done like a proper introduction. If you have fished around on my channel a little bit, then you would have seen that I have been YouTubing for approximately almost about 10 years at this point. My channel started as a beauty channel, and then it kind of phased into like a planner related channel, and I sprinkled in some gardening here and there, but the gardening as of this year has like really taken over. And maybe eventually I'll incorporate some more of my like just normal lifestyle stuff, but obviously we have been in the season of the garden in the summertime, so that has been pretty much my focus. So again, I just wanted to share kind of how I got here. By trade, I am a hairstylist, for those who may not know, which is how I started my channel off, as a beauty person. But when I moved into my house back in 2016 was when I really like grew an interest of gardening. Before then, growing up, I didn't even know anybody with a garden. My mom, I would consider her to have a green thumb for like house plants, but she never actually had like a vegetable garden. So it was kind of a foreign concept to me, like even trying to grow my own food. But my husband, his father actually always had a garden, and I really admired just the fact that that was something that he did every single summer. So I was like, maybe I can just, you know, grow a little something, you know, just enough for me to make salsa in the summer. I always loved making fresh salsa. And so I literally started on this deck with just like a city picker, and I grew tomatoes that year, I grew cilantro that year, tomatoes, cilantro, some jalapenos. I had one single jalapeno plant, and randomly I grew a cucumber plant. Now, me not knowing anything about plants at all, putting the cucumber into that mix was probably not very smart, because it sucked all of the nutrients out of that one little pot. But I was just amazed at the fact that I could grow my own food and pick it that same day and eat it, create recipes, whatever. So from there, I really got the itch and the urge to grow more. And it really was just because I like fresh food. Like, I've always been a vegetable lover growing up. Like, I love vegetables. I'm not much of a carnivore. I do eat meat, but I really enjoy vegetables, fresh vegetables. So I was intrigued with the fact that I can do that for myself in such a small space. Again, I just started up on my deck, and from that year grew into like my whole deck being covered with plants. Drove my husband crazy, listen, because I was just trying to get it how, you know, get it how I could. Like, I didn't have a lot of space at this At that point, I hadn't had any raised beds or anything like that. I knew nothing about raised bed gardening. I was starting where I was, and what I knew that I could grow out of was containers. And so I did a large container garden just up on my deck. I grew peppers, I grew tomatoes, I grew a ton of different type of herbs and things. And then it got to the point where my husband was like, how about we build you some raised beds? And so, you know, with that idea, I really just started researching and seeing how other people did things. And I will give credit to Jessica Sowers over at Roots and Refuge Farm. That first like winter, winter, like after my like huge, all right, had to switch over to my phone because I should have checked my camera battery. But anyways, like I was saying, after watching Jess over at Roots and Refuge Farm, and obviously like she had way more space than what I had going on, but I was just intrigued by all of the different varieties that she was growing, like, and she really preached like just trying it, like what is the harm in just getting out there, putting the seed in the ground. The seeds want to grow, and even if you fail, like it's better to like fail and learn a lesson than to not have tried at all. And so I want to say like that following year, my husband built my first set of raised beds. We started off with just 2, and like I just tried things, and I was just so courageous in the things that I wanted to try, the attempts that I made. I mean, that year I grew a lot. For me to like have been just trying this whole thing out. So yeah, like I want to give credit to her because like she really gave me the confidence to like be like, you know what, I can probably do this, even though like I'm just gardening from my backyard in a suburban setting. I can do this. I just dropped a clothes. And I remember the second year, yeah, so that first year I did post like my first like plant with me on my channel, where I just had my 2 raised beds. If you guys want to check that out, I'll make sure I'll put it up in the card so you can peep that out. But from there, like things just kind of went crazy real quick. And again, because I'm in this setting, I kind of have to be mindful of my neighbors and like just, you know, everything. My dogs need space in my yard, blah, blah, blah. So like there are still certain limitations I have to what I can do here. But I have just like, you know, grown to, hey B, but you gotta back up, bro. All up in my space. But yeah, I've just like grown to be like creative and courageous in the things that I just try to grow here where I am. Because as it stands right now, this is where I'm going to be for a little while, and I'm not mad at that, but I'm just making the most of my space, and I'm having fun with what it is that I'm doing. And I just keep on dropping clothes. Okay, real quick, I need to count these out, because if I need to grab more, then I'm going to run inside and grab another clove. So by the way, I am using garlic that I grew myself to put out in the garden this year. I was going to pick up some garlic seed, but honestly, I didn't want to spend the money. I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to quite possibly miss out on a variety that I enjoyed. And I know for a fact this variety did really, really well for me this year, and I was happy with it. So, and it's free because I grew this shit. So let me count these out real quick, and then we'll get back into it if I remember where the heck I left off. All right, so we got 60 cloves of garlic here, and this is the giant Italian ivory garlic. I originally purchased this from Fruition Seeds, and again, amazing variety. They had very big heads, as you guys could see from what I picked out. So I just grabbed the best cloves from each head, and all of like the smaller ones, I will just process these or like put them in my to cook pile. So back to the video. I'm not gonna take these out just yet. So I feel like it would be proper to kind of talk about my background a little bit. I kind of touched on it, but I didn't really go into depth. My upbringing was, I would say low income. We were in a low income neighborhood, and again, I knew nothing about gardening at all. Most of the time we grew up in apartments or like condo living type situations. My mother did not own our house, so even when we did live in a single family home, we didn't own it, so we weren't allowed to like put in a garden or anything like that. And that was just something that wasn't even in our awareness. So a lot of times, like the food that we ate, my mom did a really good job. Even though we were low income, she did a really good job of feeding us a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. We didn't eat just a whole lot of like processed food. Like maybe every once in a while, of course, like we had specific snacks and stuff like that. But like my mom was always like really heavy on giving us like a good balanced diet. And so I really attribute that into my love for vegetables. And even though I was not even, you know, ever thinking of growing a garden, like just the fact that I like vegetables, I'm a foodie in general. I'm a Taurus. Hey y'all, if you're a Taurus as well, if you know, you know. Us and our food, listen, it's very serious. We be like this with our food. It's very serious. So for me, knowing where my food comes from, because I was always so disconnected, even though I had a love for vegetables, I knew nothing about the growing process. Like maybe I would see like a episode on Sesame Street every now and then talking about it, but because I never actually seen it like live and in color to like understand the process, like, oh, like we got dirt in our backyard, we could definitely probably grow some things. That wasn't even in my awareness. So now that it is in my awareness, and like it just started with like the tiniest little seed, just like seeing my husband's dad have his garden, and he grew up like in a country setting, so it was just a way of life for him. But just seeing what he was doing in just a small space, I want to say his garden, and he doesn't have raised beds, he just has like a plot in his backyard, and they also live in a suburban setting as well. And just seeing how much food he was able to produce in that, you know, little area of soil was just amazing to me. And I was like, yo, I can do this, like even if it's just a handful of things. And I mean, it empowered me so much to know that I can provide myself with something that I really love, and I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to spend money, like per se, like I don't have to, it's not as expensive, I'll say, because obviously soil cost, fertilizers cost, seeds cost, but I am growing to learn the way of being self-sustainable, which is, you know, the whole point of me saving my own garlic seeds instead of, you know, repurchasing more. Like these are things that I am really trying to implement. Really, this year was like the first year that I'm like, all right, I intentionally need to save seeds for the varieties that I enjoy, and instead of running out to the store, even though like obviously I'll still buy seeds, you know, to varieties that maybe I want to try, or, you know, that I don't always have access to or whatever. But I'm trying to like, you know, shift my thinking, and this year was like a big shift. Even 2020 wasn't a huge shift for me. I was still growing food, but like self-sustainability, like even though like everybody experienced like the food shortages and everything like that, we always kept like a stocked freezer, so I didn't really panic too much. But I feel like this year, like not only with the food shortages, but like just the increase in the cost of living in general has like really made me be like, all right, like I'm going to the store, and what used to be a $75 trip is now like upwards of like 120, 130. And for a family of 6 with a lot of like large children, we just have one little one, and like the rest of my kids are 12 and up. I mean, it's a lot of people to feed, and we eat a lot because a lot of us are, you know, I have a part-time schedule. My husband, his schedule kind of keeps him home frequently. And then my kids, like, you know, they're home daily. So, you know, we run through a lot of food. So any supplementation that I'm able to do is really, really empowering for me. And I think my kids are starting to latch on to that now. We have more recently tried to be mindful of our waste even, and so we have a composter, and like we're trying to figure out ways that, you know, maybe we can save some of our leftovers instead of like, you know, trying to eat on it for so many days and then just end up throwing it out. All right, after a day or two, if this stuff isn't, you know, completely eaten up, let's put that in a mason jar, let's put that in the freezer, let's stick it in some freezer bags. That way we can eat on that later on and it's not a complete waste. So, you know, this whole journey has like spiraled into like a way of living for me, and honestly I feel really, really good about it. I feel like it's the responsible thing to do. I understand not everybody has the luxury of even thinking about these things. Truth be told, like back in the day, we did not have the luxury of even thinking about these things because we were low income growing up. We just had to get it how we lived. Like we had to get food, and whatever we ate, whatever we can get is what we can get. We weren't thinking about our waste because honestly, I don't even want to say that we had a lot of waste because we didn't have just an abundance of things in general. So it wasn't even, again, something that I thought about. So I really don't want to make this video too lengthy. I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse in on a part of my journey. This is like a very condensed version of like my why. But I'm really hoping to open up more with you guys so we can grow more of a connection. So y'all know who I am, like truly who I am at my core, and understand some of my values and morals, and why this is something that I share. Even though I've always just kind of just shared me in the doing, I don't really talk too much in depth about myself. Like you guys see my kids, you guys maybe like, you know, get glimpses here and there of like my personal life. But I would like to like just let you guys in just a little bit more. So I am an open book. I'm asking you guys, or offering to you guys, if you want to ask me any like more in-depth questions, I am glad to share. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for now. Like I said, I don't want to make this too lengthy. Please leave your questions down in the comment section below if you have any. I really thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I know that we could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. I don't know, I had to go for it. So I thank you guys again. I wish you all health, wealth, and prosperity. I'm gonna get to plant some of these garlics today. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.